Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome back to the Stable Studio. So I wanted to jump on today and talk about hybrid picking. A couple of people have been asking me recently about my hybrid picking in like lessons and stuff. A couple of adult students have been asking me for like exercises and how do you get started with hybrid picking. So for those of you that don't know, hybrid picking is where you're using on your picking hand your pick and fingers. So either together or separately or combination of the two. So rather than all pick or all, finger style, it's the hybrid. It's the mixture of the two. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. First of all, a couple of things to consider. Firstly, you do not need nails. I cannot stand long nails. I don't have long nails. I cut them every 4 to 5 days. I wake up on that particular morning and go, yep, they've got to be cut. Like this morning was like yep, they've got to be cut morning. So if you've got long nails, yeah, go for it. I cannot stand them. So I think the myth is like, oh, you've got to have long nails to be able to pick, guitar. You don't. You really don't. So I'll show you which part of the nail I use, and it still works perfectly with really, really, really short nails. Like, you can even see on the camera, but like they are, there's no nail there hardly at all. So get that out of the way. Yeah, the other thing is we're not going to be changing any of this. Like we're going to be using your regular hand position. You haven't got to relearn any kind of different wrist hand position. It should be your regular, relaxed, normal kind of picking position where you would normally pick. You shouldn't have to change hardly anything at all apart from incorporating these fingers. So I don't want everyone to go, oh, I'm going to have to completely relearn how to where to put my right hand or all that kind of stuff. No, not at all. So let's get that out of the way. So hybrid picking, I've been doing 15, maybe 20 years, and I originally started it to get round a couple of licks I couldn't play, I think. One of which was like a 5-string Arpeggio, which a couple of mates of mine could blitz with like sweep picking because they were super technical players, and I just couldn't do that. It just wasn't me. I just didn't find it very comfortable. I could kind of do it, but it just didn't sound clean. So I thought, right, there must be another way of playing arpeggios. I know Eric Johnson's awesome at just picking every single note alternatively on an arpeggio. That's awesome, and I'm a big Eric Johnson fan, but I was a bit crap at that as well. So I thought, oh no, I'll try maybe hybrid picking an arpeggio. So that's how I kind of started. But also I'm a big country music fan and have been most of my life. So I think that's part of it as well, is that kind of sound was always there as far as kind of hybrid picking was concerned. So anyway, let's give you some basic, like a bit of a primer really today, some basic techniques, some things to think about, and just hopefully get you sort of started. That's the plan for today. Just get you started on some hybrid picking, some little exercises to try out, some things to consider. I'm sorry if the camera shakes a little bit. It's just like every time a lorry goes past, or right next to a farm, like when a tractor goes past, it's like the whole studio shakes a tiny bit. So I apologise in advance. Right, so let's do some basic techniques. So I'm going to turn sideways a little bit today so you can see my right hand a bit more. First of all, we're going to start with just a minor pentatonic scale because it's the law, right? We can't use anything else. But in all seriousness, I'm using this because it's familiar to most of you, if not all of you. You want to do something with your left hand that you're not really thinking about so you can focus on what this right hand is doing. So just an A minor pentatonic scale on the 5th fret there, position 1. Most of you will be picking that alternatively, right? Alternate picking, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Now all you're going to do with this first exercise is replace every up stroke of your pick with a finger. And in this case it's my second finger. So it's the rude one. And all the upstrokes are going to be that finger instead. So if I turn sideways a little bit, so hopefully you can see. So if I pick this scale, you don't need to worry about the sound too much. It could be any scale, to be honest, but a 2-note per string scale is useful at this point because it works with the picking technique that we're doing. So down with the pick and then up with, for me, my second finger. That's what works well on single note runs. And I'm picking like I said earlier, I've got no nails. I'm picking where your nail kind of curves round, and then it gets to almost, not a point, but it's almost like the shoulder of a pick, you know, when you get that curved bit, and then there's like a bit of a shoulder before it goes straight. It's like your nail's got a bit of that kind of shape to it, isn't it? Where it comes round, and then there's like almost like a little tip, but like a rounded tip before it goes straight into your finger. I'm using that bit to pick the string. Right, so down with the pick, up with your second finger, so it'll be down, up, and you can do that all the way down the scale if you want. Down, up. You can just do it on one string for now if you want, if that's easy, just to... So, down with the pick, up with the finger. And then just, that's the first little exercise. Do it descending as well if you're, you know, ascending, descending, do both. But let's do something a bit more musical now. So that's a good first little exercise, but that can actually be harder than just this next concept I'm going to show you. But no doubt still a good thing to practice. So we're going to be inside the minor pentatonic scale. I'm going to turn around again in a minute, but I want to show you what the left hand's doing. I'm going to basically pedal on this 7th fret of the 4th string, which is your root note, right? Your A. My pick is going to be playing that note the whole time, right? And then I'm going to use the next string down, the 3rd string, and I'm going to use the 5th fret and the 7th fret, and those two are going to be picked by my second finger. So I'm going to start with the root note, then the 5th fret with my finger, then the root note with my pick, then I'll just flatten my 3rd finger off to get this 7th fret, and that's played with my finger. So it's root note with the pick, 5th fret with the finger, root note with the pick, 7th fret with the finger. And it's less of a lick and more of a concept, because you can use this anywhere. Okay, you're just practicing a concept at this point. So let's turn this way so you can see this hand. So 7 on the 4th string is the pick, and then the 3rd, everything on the 3rd string is my second finger. So hopefully you can see that. And the reason I'm not showing you a lick as such is you learn this concept. You can there's a jazzy note in there. I'll play it there. You can just move it around. Okay, so you're taking that same technique and just putting it anywhere you like. But that's the thing to practice, just that little kind of pedaling thing. All right. Remember, do not do anything different with this hand. You don't have to be like, you know, doing all these kind of weird, crazy hand positions. It needs to be waxed. You need to literally be in the same position as if I was picking. That's all with my pick. Whereas if I was to do the same thing, my right hand position isn't changing at all. Okay, so that's important. So that's the first section. We're going to talk about using more of a chordal thing now. So if I just take an A major triad, 7 on the 4th string, 6 on the 3rd string, 5 on the 2nd string on the B string. Going to keep that there. I'm not going to do anything different with it just yet, apart from wreck the mic. Sorry about that big bang you've probably just heard. So, super professional me. There we go. So I've got this A major triad, right? My pick, just as before, is going to be staying on the 4th string, on the root note. But this time I'm going to have 2 fingers, one for each string. My second finger is playing the G string, my 3rd finger is playing the B string. And to begin with, all I want you to do is play all 3 together. And it's more of like a claw hammer technique, where you're just almost pinching all 3 together at the same time, right? And again, I'm just trying to get the strings on this kind of the edge that's sort of closest to my face at this point, right? The edge of my nail that's closest to my face. Once you get the hang of that, move it around. Use it diatonically if you like. You know, kind of play some triads any way you like. Whatever. Do whatever you want to like. Do whatever you want to do. I find myself doing this a lot, like at gigs where I don't want like a really in-your-face kind of sound with just the pick, you know. You want more of a softer. It can just fit in a band mix better if it's a bit softer sometimes. If you know, you might want that sound, but if it's a softer song, it can be really useful for that. So that's the first thing. The second thing to do is to take the same triad again, but this time play the root note and the other two fingers separately. So you're similar to what we did with the single notes. And then move that around once you get used to that. Or keep it in one place. That's it, all you need to do. So all together. And then root note and the other two separately. The hardest one, third and final, is to play all same triad but play all three notes separately, right? More of a banjo style roll kind of thing, I suppose. That's probably the hardest thing to do when you first start doing hybrid picking, is to use those fingers all independently of each other. Not sure what chord that was, but it was an interesting one, wasn't it? Okay, doesn't really matter too much what you do in your left hand, but you just get that kind of that technique going and get that banjo roll style thing going. So there's kind of a couple of different areas to look at. There's the single note thing, you know, almost like the pedal style kind of pedaling, not pedal steel. That's a completely different thing, but pedal, as in pedaling on a root note. That thing. And then using triads with those other techniques where you're using all three together, then the pick and the separate from the two fingers, and then all three separately. And just see how you get on. Take your time. It's not about speed. At this stage, you really just need to get a feel for this, and the synchronization takes time to get that right hand doing something different than it's always done. In the same way that with your left hand, learning something new and that's out of your comfort zone just takes time. So little and often, practice little and often, just, you know, 5 minutes here and there. You know, I quite often just take the guitar upstairs whilst the kids are going to bed and have it unplugged, sitting on the bed whilst, so they know I'm upstairs and they like me to be around, so that I'm in the house and I'm being around and stuff. But we'll just sit there and do that for a few minutes. You know, when you've got a minute, just fit it into your daily schedule somewhere. So just to finish off really quickly, I'll show you that 5-string arpeggio that I still do to this day, that I ended up using hybrid picking for, and I'm only hybrid picking one note out of the 5. But I'll show you anyway. I'm going to do it in A. It's A minor 7 arpeggio, and it sounds like this. That's a bit better, isn't it? Sometimes I'll do it. I'll do an E minor 7 version of it over the A. Basically, I'll show you in the A, and what it is, I'm actually hybrid picking just the 3rd string, just the G string. So then I only have to sweep pick the two thinnest strings, which to me is enough. That's fine. So I'm playing 10 and 12 on the A string, and I'm hammering on, and I'm picking 10 on the 4th string. Then I'm hybrid picking 9 on the 3rd string. So then hammering on to the 12th fret on the 3rd string. So there's the hybrid pick, just there, look. And then finishing off, 10 on the B string, 8 on the 1st string, and that's where the little sweep happens. And then hammering on to the 12th fret. And then you can finish that however you want it. So yeah. That was the arpeggio that I was trying to do 15 years ago that I couldn't play. Sweet picking it. So I employed the hybrid picking to do that, and it's literally just that one string, but it made all the difference to me. So there's that one. In case you want to try it out. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're thinking it sounds crap. I don't know. But anyway, great to have you all here today. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching it. If you've watched to the end, thank you. And yeah, any questions, chuck them in the comments below. I read all the comments. And yeah, hopefully I haven't waffled too much. And hopefully you've got something useful from today's session. And I'll catch you all again on the next one. Thank you very much for your time, and catch you all soon. Cheers.